sometimes going through change and building new habits and behaviors, there is absolutely going to be discomfort. Like, I hope there's nobody here watching this that has any assumption that it's just going to be smooth, because that's absolutely not true. You will feel challenged, and depending on how long it is that you've ever attempted this, or maybe you're trying for the first time, it can be anxiety provoking. That's totally normal.
Like, don't give it too much thought. You already know your values. You already know what matters to you. So do a countdown from 5, and like straight up, like when I'm in bed and I have an alarm set, because past me, who is logical, knew that this is what I needed to do. What I do is I don't want to get up, but I do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get up and get going.
Yeah.
And that literally works for literally almost everything.
Yeah.
You could do that for your school, or you could do that for your exercise. If you're having a hard time getting started, count down. Literally count down, get up from the couch, go put some clothes on. And after you have the gym clothes on, what are you going to do? Like, you're going to go and sit back down.
Go back and like, I'm not going to put it on. I changed my mind.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's so good. But yeah, that initial movement, those first 5 seconds are really what gets that momentum going for you to get going. And then after that, after you get going, you're like, you know what? I got going. And after this, I get rewarded for whatever it is that you find rewarding for you. Whether it is sometimes scrolling social media, eating a snack that you like, spending time with people that you enjoy, whatever it might be to you. But like those 3 steps can really help you like just become a more productive person and find joy in being productive at the same time.
Oh yeah. I think especially like you're saying with like the decision making, because sometimes I think it's very likely we get in our head too much. Like there's nothing wrong with analyzing. Like, I'm a very analytical person. There's nothing wrong with doing that. But there is such a thing as like the analysis of paralysis, where you're just going too long. You're thinking about it so much that all this time goes by. I'll actually give you a practical example, because one of my clients literally just mentioned this to me, because they were talking about in terms of like overthinking. They were saying how I'll like say, for example, what time is it? Over here, it's 1:40 Eastern time. So let's say at 2 o'clock, I'm supposed to start working on this paper, but then it's 2:10. I lost track of time, right? So then I kind of give myself some breathing room. Now it's like 2:30, and I'm like, oh, well, now I got to wait till 3. And then, I missed the 3 o'clock. It's 3:05, so now I got to wait until it's 4. And then the next thing I know, I'm like, it's the next day, and I didn't get anything done. And so they were like, how do I combat that? And I was like, well, number one, like you were just talking about, and just give yourself that moment. Like, if you're going to count down, give yourself 5 seconds, a minute, whatever, and then start. I don't care if it's an odd time, if it's 2:17, it doesn't matter. Just start. The important thing is just go get started, because then once you get to it and you feel that you've been able to be successful and productive, then you're going to feel great. When my client was explaining that, it reminded me of like when I used to sometimes have difficulty writing papers. I'm always good at writing papers, but starting would sometimes be a task, right? Be a bit of a burden. And I remember for me, the trick for me was I just had to start writing something. If I started writing a sentence or two and then I would just delete it, then I could be sitting there for like an hour or two and nothing got done. Or it feels like nothing got done because I have nothing on this paper. As opposed to if I just start typing stuff and I had to go back and start like, okay, I don't like the way that sounds. Let me go back and edit that there. And let me go there. Now I have some type of framework I can build from. And then that gets me motivated. And the next thing I know, I'm getting closer and closer, making progress to being done. So it's like you said, getting over that initial resistance. Why do I not want to do it? Well, it could be because I'm tired. It could be because it's new and it's a change and what have you. So what can I do to help me leverage beyond that or push past that? Well, maybe I'm going to give myself some very quick reminder. If I had a set time and I missed it, it's okay. Let me just go now. Let me put the clothes on now. We'll go to the gym right now. I know it wasn't according to my schedule exactly, but whatever. The point is, let me give myself the time. If it's some other activity that I want to do or some person I want to connect with, even if things didn't go, as I would say, according to our tentative schedule. I consider all schedules tentative, meaning stuff always can happen, right? We can have things at a certain time, but then it might not go exactly according to plan. Still, we want to be flexible, right? So if this is important to me, going back to the concept of today for self-love, If it's important to me to do it, I need to be intentional about getting it done. Even if it didn't happen exactly when I said it was. I thought I was going to be done at 9 a.m. I did it at 9 p.m. Did you do it? Yes. Then I hope you feel more fulfilled. I hope you feel more at peace because you gave yourself that effort and that time. That, as you know, again, as like a starting point, because we know change is hard. It takes time. It's incremental in progress. So we don't want to beat ourselves up if it didn't go exactly according to plan right off the bat. But you threw out a lot of good ideas about how we can get started.
Definitely, and I'm glad that the temples that you brought up kind of just keep bringing back the thought of progress over perfection. Like we live in society nowadays that perfection is always the goal. Mm-hmm. Realizing that, first of all, that's not realistic. First of all, that sets you up for failure every time.
For sure.
So just as everything else that you're doing in life, with self-care and self-love, focus more on progress than you focus on perfection.
Yeah.
Because you do start setting out those, if you've never actually added those reminders to your calendar or actually scheduling that time self-care, you might miss the time for a little bit. You're like, oh, I missed it. My 5 minutes. Might as well just not do it. Like, what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
And that's because you don't focus on perfection. Just focus on progress. And you know what? I'm gonna do the rest of the time. I'm just gonna do that for that little bit of time, and really emphasizing that power of you know what? I did better than I did last week. I did better than I did last month. I did better than I did yesterday. It's necessary, and it's really so helpful, and it takes so much weight off your shoulders when you don't have to expect that perfection. It's really it just feels so much better, and it just feels so good in my opinion.
Yeah.
And yeah, and something that I also that I thought of when you were speaking about writing a paper, is this idea of, again, it's a societal conditioning that we've been conditioned to through everything that we live in the world. It's start before you're ready. We have if start before you're ready. Of course, as long as it's not life or death. If you're a police officer, you make sure that you're ready. But if you're writing a paper, something that's not as consequential, something that's something put it down just in case. Yeah. But something that's not as consequential, and most of our personal self-care routines are not as consequential as the rest of the stuff. So you just start before you're ready. Mm-hmm. Kind of just get started. If you never meditated before and you feel I need to read every book on meditation, I need to watch no, just start. Yeah. You gain a lot more from practice than you gain from actual theory.
Yeah.
So start practicing, because that's going to teach you what you need to work on, and then you can use theory to help you really dive in and really make the tweaks that you need to make to get better at that activity.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's something that I've noticed a lot of people struggle with, and I've struggled with myself, where we're so focused on, I gotta be perfect. I need to master this. I need to have that, and then we end up just getting paralyzed, like you mentioned before, and not doing anything at all.
No,
day goes by and you didn't get anything done.
Yeah, we don't want that, and what you said is very powerful there. It's much better for us to put in the effort and get started, as opposed to chasing perfection or chasing, again, even if it's just I had it scripted, this is the way my day was supposed to look. And I'll emphasize this point because I think maybe this is important when we're talking about self-care. Because life, unfortunately, doesn't go according to your schedule. Life really doesn't care about what I got going on, what Carlos has got going on, what anybody that's viewing this right now has got going on. Some things are gonna happen at random. And we all have to be able to cope, to understand that, and be able to navigate. How does that work, right? So I can have the most perfectly tailored, manicured schedule that had every single item that I always wanted to do, and then some seemingly emergency can happen and just screw it all up, right? Do I want that to be I got nothing done because this thing happened? No, I would make the point, I need to lean into it more now, because now I have to deal with this emergency that I wasn't expecting. My self-care routine better be pretty good, So I can cope with that, because I wasn't expecting that to land in my lap. And so I think, again, making progress over perfection is like very, very key element. I hope that anything over self-care, that's something that you take away from the conversation is understanding I need to put in some effort rather than no effort. It's okay if things don't go exactly according to plan. The more important is, did I make the attempt? How do I feel now that I've done it? Because I'm always a big believer in the outcome. If you participate and you engage and you say, like I mentioned earlier about when I might not always be excited to roll out of the bed to go to the gym, but when I come back and I know how I feel, I enjoy that I went over the discomfort, right? So it's just remembering that part. Sometimes going through change and building new habits and behaviors, there is absolutely going to be discomfort. Like I hope there's nobody here watching this that has any assumption that it's just going to be smooth, because that's absolutely not true. You will feel challenged. And depending on how long it is that you've ever attempted this, or maybe you're trying for the first time, it can be anxiety provoking. That's totally normal. It's just about being able to make, again, any type of incremental step. I tried to meditate the first time. I was able to sit still for about 5 minutes. Okay.
Same. Yes.
Let's see. Can I go to 7 minutes? Can I go to 10 minutes? Can I go to 13 minutes? Like, it's okay if you don't get it all on the first try. Like you said, like we want to encourage, I would almost say to a certain degree, I'm encouraging failure to continue to progress. So if you didn't hit whatever you thought you were supposed to hit, that's fine. Let me keep making attempts, modifying my approach slightly or tweaking it to get to where I want to go. And then I can raise the bar again. And then I can raise the bar again. Not to perfection, just to keep getting better at it, more fluid in it,